because we want to listen to them. Go to the
That's it.
page. You want to introduce themselves? Yeah, they can. Yeah, we want them to introduce themselves.
Because it's getting late. Okay, now we're going to get started.
Okay, well,
Okay.
let's go ahead and put the camera on now.
Okay. All right, guys, we're going to get started. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Empower Hour. I am your host, Al Kumar.
And I'm your host, Hanifa George.
And this is where we normally take 1 hour out of your busy day, busy week, and discuss impactful topics that impact us in our community. Well, this week we have a 2-hour special because this topic is such an important one that we thought that it would be just as important to give twice as much time to it. So the topic is called the state of our black unions. So we're going to talk about today what's going on in our relationships, our male-female dynamic relationships. And so let's introduce the panel. Over here to my left, we'll start with Sister Wessitta. Wessitta, if you can just state your name and your age and, you know.
And speak into the microphone because some people can't hear you.
Peace and blessings, everyone. I'm Wessitta McKinley. I'm 52 years old, and I have a passion for my people.
All right. What's your relationship status?
Single.
Okay.
My name is Jesse Bashan. I'm 40 years old. My passion is my people and just helping people in general, overall.
And your relationship
My
status?
relationship status is single.
Okay.
My name is Demetrius. I won't tell my age. Yeah, I'm 39. My passion is my people, and I love travel.
Okay. And your relationship status?
Oh, I'm single.
Why everybody skipping that one?
Well, I'm just going to break the ice here. I'm going to break the ice. I'm Leslie. I'm 46 years old, and I'm in a relationship.
Okay.
And I love, my passion is I love to cook, and I love my black people. Well, not just black people, I love people.
Okay. All right. So, what we're going to do is we're going to jump right into the discussion, and then midway we're going to loop back around and talk to you guys a little more about what we have going on here at Everlasting Life. So we do a lot here. So I'm going to let Miss Hanifa here get us started with the first question.
All right, so everyone has introduced themselves, so you guys have an idea of who's on the panel, kind of get a feel of everyone. And so I just kind of wanted to start off with, let's define what a good relationship versus a bad relationship.
Okay.
That's sort of where I wanted to start. What do we say, what does a good relationship consist of? And what makes a relationship not good?
Okay.
So anyone that want to start?
One of these.
The good relationship to me is faithfulness, committing, healthy, very healthy. That's a good relationship to me. And a loving one, a serious one. That's a good relationship. The unhealthy ones is the lying, the deceit, and the using. That's a very unhealthy relationship to me.
Okay.
And I just wanted to state that I believe an unhealthy relationship can be one in which two people are going two different directions. They are not on the same accord. And that can be unhealthy at the end.
Okay.
I think health is defined, of course, as well by cohesion, too. You know, the fact of the matter is that, you know, the two people have to come together to agree on something. And so the basis of their relationship has to be support and agreement. You know, so that's how I feel as far as the commitment goes. You know, what a healthy relationship looks like is one that's based on supporting each other and loving each other fully.
So I would say something that's kind of general, and that's communicating and just being honest about exactly what you want. Being open about your fears and as well as your strengths, because sometimes we put out the strengths more so than our fears. So the main thing with me is being honest. Put as much as you are comfortable with on the table. The earlier the better.
So, so the divorce rate, for example, in our community is pretty high, right? And we're actually seeing that there is longevity. There are good black love relationships out there. And there are also those that are not that good, not that healthy. I'm sure all of us on the panel can think of some people in our space right now who are in toxic, unhealthy relationships. And then we could think of a few others who may be in good relationships. So the divorce rate being as high as it is in our community and our relationships lacking longevity, what would we say are the contributing factors to that? What are we seeing when we're out there amongst our peers that we could say this is a big problem that's going unaddressed and this is the reason for the failure in our relationships? Let's talk about that.
Okay, well, in my opinion, is not, we don't understand racism in America and how it impacts our relationship in all aspects. But not to get too deep, is to keep it on the surface, to find the money thing. That's the biggest issue, I think, that a lot of people have in relationships. And when your money situation isn't together, it just leads to a lot of other issues in a relationship.
It's money.
Okay.
Anyone else?
But I also think, in addition to money, money is one of the problems that we have, the failure. But also, I think that we have allowed American values to get into our African system. We have converted to their way of thinking, doing, eating, living, raising our kids. And let's be real about this. We are different. We really are different. People don't like to talk about that, like America don't like to talk about racism. Right. But the reality is, with integration, if you look back over our history, even when we were kings and queens in Africa, it was the family unit. The man, the woman, the children. The man was the leader, the provider, the protector. And even when we came over against our will, we stuck together as a family. You had the man, the woman, the children. They plowed together. They did everything together. And then when integration came and all this feminism, everything just went buck wild. You know, don't beat your kids. You know, it's okay for the woman to do whatever she want to do and hang out. I mean, things just went crazy with integration. We don't like to talk about it. It's an uncomfortable conversation, but we must understand. When we were separated, we were bonded on one accord, same values, same motives, working together as a team. But now with this melting pot, everybody just doing anything with everybody at any time and anywhere. And so I think that has caused a lot. Look at our television. Look at television, the TV shows. You know, you can be with everybody, lottie-dottie, you know. It's okay to be the side chick there that glorifying that craziness. So we need to really look at what is dividing us. Television, look at our songs, you know. I mean, we don't like to talk about this. Look at our professional sports. So many of them, you don't even see a woman like me on the arm of them. Let's keep it real.
Any of you fellas want to piggyback on that question?
She said a mouthful. I said a whole lot.
I don't really think, I mean, everything that she said is true, but that's not what people are thinking about. Should we be thinking about the things that you just said? Absolutely, but that's not where we at. And that has a lot to do with why we
that's why we in the position we in now.
But that's we not even there. We not even there. It's kind of like you got to speak to where people are at to get them where you talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Because my question is, when I heard Hanifa mention about the money scenario, that is the number one cause of breakup if you're looking at statistics.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So, but my question is it really about money? Is the number one cause of breakup the financial aspect, or is it deeper? Is it something deeper than that? Is it what the money can offer you that you're looking? Are you looking at like media for a specific example of what money should be, you know, your mate should be able to provide for you, and when they don't, that causes a rift?
That's a good question.
What do you guys think? Well, let me ask this. What has been your personal scenario? Have you guys had any breakups in relation to money in particular?
Nah, not me. My breakup's probably been because of me and my feelings about money. You know, I see a lot of women downplay the importance of money,
Yeah.
and that's a problem too.
Yes, we do.
You know what I'm saying? But I would say more so, I've never had a woman, I would say directly, say, oh, your money ain't right. You know what I mean? But indirectly, yes. But not directly, because women definitely play around with the importance of money. So.
And I'm one of the ones in a relationship where I don't manage money good at all. And I'm here to admit it. And I will allow my mate to take on that finances, because I'd rather him do it as opposed to me continually struggle trying to learn it. So me personally, you know, I don't have a problem with it. Do I play around with money? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Have I learned that structure? Still battling it. And it did, and I can say it tampered with my relationship. It tampered with it. But I believe that for me, it's not, relationship is not about all money. It's not about money.
I think
It
it is.
should not be just centered about money.
I look at it like, you know, even money, we say money, just the physical money, but also support. Do we value the person? You know, we get with someone, we choosing someone, are we valuing that person in particular? We see that person as an asset, you know, because what do they bring to the table? It's not always going to be money they bring to the table. They can bring talents and gifts and other things that can help build and create money as the end game. You know, money will come in the end game, but at the same time, when you have a gift and a talent, are you going to work together in those talents to create money? Because that is that is essential. But like I said before, it's about supporting each other. That's how I see it. If you don't support each other, it's not going to work.
So it sounds, what I'm hearing as well is, it sounds like the cultivation of a certain mindset has to happen outside of relationship first before two people, because we're talking within the context of relationship, but it sounds like these mindsets around money, how we think, like you're saying, has to happen outside of a relationship first, and then when we get together, you have two people that are on the same page, you know, same mindset, working. Demetrius?
Well, I was going to say, most people, but women in particular won't admit something that she just did about the finances, especially if the woman is the breadwinner. If the woman is the breadwinner, she's not about to hand over her money to a man and let him control that money or budget that money, rather. Even if she is bad with money, she just rather be bad with her own money, and that's that. Now, to what he was saying about people having other talents, a lot of us don't have other talents. So money replaces the talents that we don't have. You understand what I'm saying? Because if a brother can build a house, yo, that's a talent. And that equates money. But if it's like, yo, I could build you a house, I don't got $1 million, but I could build you a house that possibly could be worth $1 million. Or I can cook Sean enough, or I could do this, or I could do that. But to be honest, most of us don't really have any real talents, real building skills like that, plumbing and stuff. Like, you know, we don't really have that. If you can go in the sister's house and say, yo, I can remodel your whole kitchen, that's $10,000-$15,000 that you get to keep. That's money. But how many brothers know how to, remodel a kitchen? You understand what I'm saying? So they got to have the bread to get their kitchen remodeled.
So I'm hearing when Leslie says it's really not all about money, but if we're looking at it face value, it is. Is that a fair assessment? Or
I think it's an individual thing. For some, it may be about the money. Me personally, I think it's deeper than the money. Because some people hook up because somebody make a certain amount of money. They don't care about the person. They going after exactly. You feel what I'm saying? So I think every scenario, every person's situation is different. But I think to be safe to go across the board, regardless, I think it's much deeper than the money. Because if you are not together yourself, if you yourself are not together, you can have the richest person in the world. you're still not going to be happy.
Right.
Money can't make you a whole person.
right.
Some of the most miserable people in the world, living or dead, had all the money in the world, you know.
Right.
You know, and I always say it's not how much money you make, it's what you do with what you have.
Absolutely.
You can have an abundance life making $8 an hour, and you could be the most miserable person making $50 an hour. So it's really not about the money. It's about a deeper issue with the individual entering that relationship.
Never, not, sorry. I don't want to. It's
Okay.
hard for me to not
I got
jump in
another
the conversation, but
No.
it's very difficult, but I'm doing it. I wanted to move on from this. Did you want?
I did, but I
Okay,
just
go
wanted to ask, because you guys seem very well put together, and you know, you all look nice, and you know, all that stuff. What is the challenge with finding a good mate?
I think, like I said, I just put it on me. I like to kind of, I like to be single in a way to be able to be free and do what I want to do. I know a relationship shouldn't be considered a ball and chain, and it shouldn't, and it isn't. But I'm just saying, far as I'm concerned, it's been more so just me kind of just wanting to be free and other issues too. But I would just say on the surface.
So you're choosing to be single at this point.
Yeah.
2017?
I would say so. I would say so, but at the same time though, I do kind of feel like, not to take away from what I just said, but I do kind of feel like if I was a little financially a little bit more stable,
Where you want to be?
I may want to explore sharing that with somebody. So I will put that out there, but I won't. That's not to take away from what I just said. I still take responsibility
She said, "Shut
for
on
my
her face
part
because he's blocking this
in my
light."
relationship with women not really working out.
And when you do get in a relationship, be serious.
I'm serious about anything I get into. That's not even a question.
I think
The brother just
I like
said.
he's being honest. I like that.
Right,
He's
the
being
brother
very
just
honest.
said, I am keeping myself off the market because there are some things I'm working on.
Yeah,
That is a
I appreciate
serious
that
brother.
honesty. Yeah, I like that. I appreciate
He's already
that.
serious.
I'd rather take that instead of bullshitting
Exactly.
and put on this little
Exactly.
cover up because you're in the need of something. Your own self. I'm already in need of something already, and then here you come already in need of something. So good gracious alive. I mean, what are you here for?
Yeah.
Because you need something, just like
Oh,
you.
don't carry your needs somewhere else. Because I'm trying to get my need together right now. Don't come over here using me. So I appreciate a brother like that.
I'm the oldest on this panel here. I'm that 50+ group there.
Good.
And I choose to be single right now. I would love to be in a very loving relationship. However, at my age, I don't have time for nonsense. I find many guys that I run into full of nonsense. The lies, the deceit, the deception. The representatives show up, he's real good for a couple of months and then he's gone. I'm a builder, so I need someone that I can build with. I'm just going to keep it real. I want someone equal or above. At my age, I'm not going to teach anybody the basic things of life. At a certain age, I think you should know certain things. Let's keep it real.
Like for instance.
For instance, by the time you get 50, I think you should know how to write a check and be able to get a checking account.
Wait, so we're assuming that you're only open to dating 50-year-olds and up?
For me, let me just share my personal experience. All the guys I've ever dated are older than I am. I have dated a younger guy once before, which was a nightmare for me.
I bet you it was.
Which was a nightmare for me. But that's not to say that, older women can't. They don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
I mean, but you asked us to be
absolutely.
be transparent about ourselves.
That's right.
For me, I have always had gentlemen older than myself. So I think at a certain age, there's certain things you should know. don't come to me and say, can I get on your cell phone plan? That kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying? No, you're not getting on my... Well, when you go ahead and pay that bill, I'm not. I'm just keeping it real. But at a certain age...
I was going to say that. What if he just can't open up his own account, but he's willing to pay the bill, as long as you allow him?
Well, he have to get a woman that's going to open that account with him.
No, okay.
Yeah, I'm just being honest.
No, that's
fine. I just at a certain age, and let me put this out here. I see so many brothers, 50 and older. Let me say, I used to hear the old people used to say, "Ain't no fool like an old fool." Lord have mercy, we see plenty of them out here. Plenty of them out here. But I am a sister. I want to build. I love my people. I love humanity. I have a non-profit organization. I love to travel. I want a man that can pay his way to travel. I'm sorry. I want a man that even just have a passport. How about that?
That's what I'm.
How about that?
So it sounds like stability. You want
Yes, somebody that is stable.
financially
Yes, somebody that is stable, that is a builder, that we can come together. Now, I don't mind. Let me tell you, I will cook, clean. That brother can have a bubble bath waiting. I mean, I am a romantic person. But I'm not going to do all that. You over here with somebody 25, making babies, all this child support. It's too much drama in relationships nowadays. Too much drama. You know? And personally, I just don't, I'm just being honest. I don't want to be with a man that's 50 and above and he got a 2-year-old. I'm sorry.
Mercy, what's been your experience?
How can I hear it?
Mercy, do you want to follow that?
That's real.
That's real talk.
Is she right?
Me, I'm a person that sometimes when it comes to relationship, I'm a cautious person, so I'm always I believe in lengthy conversations, so it's got to start with conversation first. And if our conversation is not there, most times it's not gonna go anywhere with me as far as relationships goes. With that said, I'm in a place as a single man. You know, I'm in a place where I'm building myself right now, so I'm pursuing. So I date, go out, you know, have a good time. But as far as seriousness, I'm trying to seriously build myself so that, hey, when I am ready for that person, you know, and I know I'm 40 years old, so I don't think it's going to take much time for me. But at the same time, I want to be right, you know, because like I said, I obviously didn't say it before, but I was divorced. So, you know, so I went through a bad relationship and it ended bad, but I had 3 wonderful kids out of it. So now I'm in a place where I'm focusing on my children, so I'm building to make sure that they are successful. So my focus is on them right now, and so that's the thing you have to worry. The person, whoever I get to be with, will have to be concerned with is that, hey, I have 3 children, so are you willing to take on that responsibility with me? You know, to be a not their mother, but you know, be a parental guidance person that can provide guidance to these people as a good role model, as a good example. You know, so that's why I'm in the place I'm in right now. So I want to focus on my children. So I'm not really searching, but hey, I'm open, you know, and I'm available. So it's not that I'm, you know, I don't want somebody. I'm just focusing on my as I said again, my children are my priority.
So you two sound responsible as the male figures on the panel, as far as I'm hearing the same kind of dynamics that you guys, although you can go out and find, you know, somebody, you're not rushing because you're looking to get your own scenario in order first.
That's a good thing.
So what happens though with guys who don't do that? What normally happens in relationships? And they still pursue women.
It's a bunch of things that happen. I mean, yeah, they have needs, absolutely, but a bunch of things happen. The women find out when it's too late, when they, you know, kind of in a relationship with the man that he has more children, or he has different habits. He can get a job, but he can't keep a job. It's just different things like that happens. You know what I'm saying? Because men that have to kind of like survive off women, basically, they got a lot of game. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause that's a part of survival for them. So they know how to hide whatever it is they need to hide to get in with that woman, and then they know what woman to size up that's going to go for whatever they got going on. They know what woman's going to accept kids. They know what woman's going to accept bad credit. They know what woman going to accept a felon. They know what woman is going to accept, you know, hey, I'm homeless. They know whatever the situation that brother has, he, for survival purposes, know how to pick that woman
Very
out.
good, you say, because, and because he touched on that, my other question would be, when is it, because I hear guys complain about this a lot, right? When is it too early? Or is it ever too early for a woman to start asking specific questions that she needs?
I don't think that it's a time period. She just has to be willing to answer those same questions. Because a lot of times women, they so quick to run the dude down on his, but don't want to be ran down on his. And I run you down on his. I check you out online just like you check me out online. I see if you got a case, just like you're seeing if I got a case. Right? I do the same exact thing that you do, but that's the problem with that. I don't know. It depends on what you. It depends on what the woman has been through.
That's what I was
You
going to say,
understand what I'm
because
saying?
usually a female that comes to the table with all these questions have had some bad experiences,
Absolutely.
and so to avoid wasting time and energy, she kind of want to nip things in the butt from the jump now going forward. So it's not often that she's thirsty or anxious or pressed to be in a relationship with you. She could just simply be asking for caution's sake, you know. So that's why I was asking, is it ever too early?
No.
I don't think it's up to it. You gotta be transparent. I mean, that's the thing about it. We're adults here, so you know when you get into a relationship, you got to think, hey, look, I'm with another adult, so I can't come playing games like a child. You know, when you were a child, you did a child. They say we did childish things, so we got to say put our mentality, you know, back in check and say, hey, look, I can't play with this person's feelings. I don't want anybody playing with mine. So, especially when you have children, because guess what? That stuff comes back around. You know, so you have daughters. As a man, you have daughters. You're like, okay, wait, I can't treat this woman like this and come back to my children.
So I'm wondering, because I'm hearing, when I heard all the things that you described that some guys do when they play games, that sounds like a predator-prey scenario to me. And so I'm wondering, so even if the woman comes into the relationship asking questions, and she's dealing with a predator, how honest is the answers going to be? And how do you know the personality?
Predator, that's hard. I was going to
You're
say.
dealing with a survivor. They're dealing with a survivor. I like to go to survivor. It's like, that's hard. It is very hard.
That's another rough. Because we use that language for like child predators, super predators.
Pedophile or something.
So we want to kind of separate. We want to use that word for the, for the appropriate.
Player.
Oh, player.
Okay, so let me rephrase that.
But I got you though.
So how does a woman know that this thing ain't all game, the answers that she'll even get?
Oh man.
No.
Okay. I'm gonna lead in with what she just said. I'm gonna leave with what she said. Women know.
We do.
But a lot of women, see, again, that man knows you better than you think. So he knows how to size up what woman that's going to go for his nonsense.
And
what to say. So, because you see women get into the same issue over and over again. It's like, you don't know this guy by name.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
Same guy, different body.
Yeah, exactly. So they know. And to some degree, it's the value that the woman have on herself. It got a lot to do with that, because let's keep it real.
Yes.
If a woman really got it going on, soon as a man say he got 3 kids, she out. Especially if she
Why?
Because she got it going on and she doesn't have to accept that.
But my friend has 7 children.
As a woman?
No, my male friend.
Okay.
He has 7 children.
Okay.
And because I have I'm this loving person. And
You say your boyfriend?
Yes.
Okay.
He has 7 kids, and I know how to love all of them.
Okay.
Individually. It doesn't mean like I don't have a lot of money.
Okay.
Right? So I don't find anything wrong. I don't think that has something to do with my self-worth, because I accepted somebody that has 7 children. I accepted these children because these are not only his, but they're God's children. So I can love all of them.
Absolutely.
I can love them
in one shot.
Can I just
Go ahead.
say something? Okay, and I understand that, and it's not across the board. But for the most
switch
part,
and put a cell phone here, I can zoom.
talking about we in the
That's what I didn't
Washington
realize I
D.C.
couldn't
area
do
for
when I
those
set
who
it
don't
like that.
know
So we
Facebook.
switch.
We are in the Washington
Then I
D.C.
have a
area.
wide shot.
And for any area for that matter, black women, and I understand it, I don't knock them for this, but if you done went to school and you done went through all of that, you done having children, you've been progressive, you did everything you were supposed to do, you might even have your PhD, whether it's an MD or PhD or whatever. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to date a man with 7 children. You want to start your own family. So that's just, and not to say that your value is less because you're willing to date a guy with 7 kids. But again, if you had something that you felt like might be directly affected by dealing with somebody with 7 kids, you may not want to do it. Not because you're not loving, but just because, hey, I don't want to really have the drama of dealing with 7 kids because of my profession or whatever I have going on.
But why does having it going on have to be connected to material things? Because a woman, go ahead, a woman or man can have it going on and not have all these things that society says they should have to prove that they have it going on. You have some of the richest people who wear regular looking clothing. You know, you will never know that they have all this wealth. So really, when we're talking about having it going on, you mentioned credentials, you mentioned PhDs, you know, degrees and so forth. I know a lot of functioning, educated people, right, that have these things, but they don't have it going on. So, right, so why does having it going on have to be connected to material things? Because they are women who, like you just listed, and they would did, and I also don't know, I'm trying to understand, I still don't understand how dating someone with a certain amount of kids is attached to our value as women or our worth. That's not connected.
Well, that's the same difference. I want you to.
No, you go right ahead. I want you to get your point out because I'm on with you. Go ahead.
That's the same difference for a woman letting a man beat on her. You understand what I'm saying?
Not the same thing.
No, yes it is, because it's going to tap into her value at some point. So you're going to say, you're going to go to the sister and say, listen, you're beautiful, you this, you that. You shouldn't have no man beating on you. You're going to tap her to that. So it does play a part in how the woman, in some cases, views where she's at in the dating pool.
Isn't it? Go ahead, Wessitta, sorry.
Well, one of the things I want to point out is this. I always say that everybody has different tolerance levels. What I can tolerate, you may not. What you can tolerate, I may not. So there is no right or wrong in those decisions. Now, when it comes to men with multiple kids, I want to know how many baby mamas involved. Now, you can have 7 kids and by one woman, okay? But when you start having multiple kids by multiple women, for me, that shows a red flag. You have, exactly, and you have no value of commitment. Discipline. Exactly, discipline or commitment. So it's not about the number of children, it's about the number of people involved in making these children. Then furthermore, getting even deeper, I want to know, are you taking care of these kids? Because too many women are dating men, and I am one, I have dated men and found out later that they haven't paid their child support. Now I gotta, when I date again, I have to look on the case thing to see if you got a case. Because when you date a guy, meet a guy, he's not going to tell you, oh, I'm behind in child support, you know, or I just don't pay child support. But for me, it's very important to know that a man is righteous enough and manly enough to take care of whatever he makes.
Take care of all of it.
You know,
that's one thing
so,
I found out was attractive to me. I was very attracted to that because he would take care of all of his children. Even on our date nights, we have had one of his children come with us on a date night. I didn't mind. I'd rather see us do that than you not do nothing at all. So he takes very good care of all of them.
yeah, so that's the thing. It's not about the number of kids. It's how many mamas, for me, how many mamas involved. Because if I meet a brother and he's like, I got 3 kids by 3 different women, whatever meal we're having, that's my last supper.
With him.
With him. That's I'm keeping it real. Like I said, at a certain point in your life, you done heard all the game plan, all the nonsense, and you're like, time is valuable to me. I don't want to waste time on somebody that don't know who they are, because if you don't know who you are, you definitely don't know where you're going. So how are we going to build?
So I want to ask a question. I'm going to throw this out there, right? Because, the reason why I'm asking this question is because oftentimes I listen to a lot of black men, right? And we've had shows, Alkama, where we've asked black men what are some of the issues that they find in trying to successfully date and marry black women. The number one issue is our mind. Okay, am I lying, brothers? I mean, y'all can don't be afraid. I know you're sitting next to Wessitta.
But the brothers got some smart mouths too.
Yes, no, wait, let me finish.
They got some
Let me
smart
finish.
mouths too.
But let me finish. So my question then is, does it matter who leads in the relationship? And when I say that, I mean, let's say there's a dynamic where the man is maybe looking for employment, and so he's a stay-at-home dad, and maybe that ends up being a year, 2 years, because he hasn't found a job and she's bringing in the money at that time. Does that have a bearing in the relationship, or even a negative effect on the relationship? Does it matter who leads in the relationship?
I think it has, yes, it has a bearing on the relationship. Can the relationship function? Yes, the relationship can function. It just depends on what they've been through up to that point.
Right, I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
What they're accustomed to.
Yeah, so if you have years and that's not his makeup, that's not who he is, he just fell on hard times or fell into a situation, and that's what it is, and y'all agree upon him staying home, etc., etc. I don't think it's I think that's perfectly fine. Someone being home, the family to me functions better anyway, whether it be the man or the woman.
I would love to stay home.
Absolutely. So I think that the family and the household functions a lot better when one of the parties are home. And as long as...
And it's not just your theory, that's been proven.
Absolutely.
That's a proven fact.
And as long as the man is bringing something to the table, outside of, money, like he's home, he can pay bills, he can do some running around, he can do things like that, things that really have a real value when you're talking about raising a family. And as long as a man can pull his weight, a woman can make more money than me, because most women do make more money than me. As long as I have enough to pull my weight, I'm cool. You can make 150. I can't make 30. You making 150. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Like, that's too far a distance. You understand what I'm saying? But as long as I could pay for dinner, as long as I could pay for a trip of some sort, I'm cool.
Think also as long as you're allowed to do. Because a woman can make more money than you, and there's a big gap. But as women, you can have that, right? But you also have to be humble enough to still allow that man to feel like a man. So yes, you can make 40 and that person let's say she makes 75, 80. That's still a big gap, but she don't act like she makes 80 or 75. Exactly. So that matters as well.
But I don't think that, I know what you're saying.
That's it, because that's important.
If a woman is making 75, and there's women out there like this, I'm being a little petty right now. But if a woman is making 75, and there are women that's making 75, and the man is making 40, you really not making that much money, ladies. So kind of keep it together. Now, if you're making 150, 200, then I could kind of see a little arrogance with you. Okay. Not to say that you should be, but 75, 40, look, we still in the same boat. So that's it, right? You know what I mean? So,
let's go with your plan.
Yeah.
You pay for a dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Like, come on, man.
Go do a trip.
Even though I know what you're saying.
Because some people would just see it as I make more.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much more, I make more.
I'm like 75,
But then when you look at a person with that mentality that want to hold authority over somebody that's making less than them, that person to me has a problem. Okay? Because I know I have been in relationships. I've made twice or sometimes 3 times as much as the men that I've dated. I have no problem. Hey, if we're going to build, if I know we have mutually sat down as 2 adults and agreed to be exclusive and build something, at that point, is all one pot, okay? But I can't see blowing my money with somebody running around lying and deceiving. You notice the difference?
Absolutely.
If we are a unit, that we have agreed to be a unit, we are working together. If I make 120 and he make just 30, our 120 and his 30 becomes 150, and we solid like that.
And I was going to say that, too, that, you have to see this out. You have to see this out. There's things you have to set up foundationally in a relationship. When you first start a relationship, that's things you start up asking those lengthy questions. Don't just get into a relationship and say, oh, that's just because he looks good or she looks good, she's fine, he's handsome, whatever. You got to ask those questions. You need to ask right from the get go. Hey, how are you with money? Hey, what kind of background you come from? What is it that you like and what you don't like? So you need to understand things. So when you're in the committed phase, you won't make these mistakes and say, okay, well, this is my money, this is your money. So when tough times do come, what's your dynamics on money? What's your, do you think, hey, money is just about you, what you make, or is it about us together? And so sometimes understanding the family history in the background will help out too. If you think it's possible.
Let me say this, because women lie too.
Yes.
So that 150 that she making, that she telling you, oh, it's cool that you making 50 because she want to be married or she think you cute or whatever, then you get into that relationship, then it's something totally different. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. How you figure that out, it's up to how you feel people out. But I just want to say that sisters be doing that too.
Yeah, it's not 100% of the time, we know that, because but you got to start somewhere. You got to start a conversation.
Yeah.
If you don't have a conversation, you're not going to even know, because if you don't mention things out in the beginning, you're going to hold them to their word. You say, hey, remember when you said this? Remember, if you don't have something to stand on, they don't have their words, not their bond.
And all they gonna say is yeah, and
then it's like you cut it out. You bounce.
Let me cut in right here. If you guys are just joining us, you are listening and watching the Empower Hour talk show. Takes place every Wednesday from 2 to 3 p.m. normally. We're doing a 2-hour special today on the state of our black unions. We are taking questions from the audience. So if anybody does have a question, we have index cards right here on the table, and just ask your question and I'll get it out to our panelists. And this one I thought was it is near and dear to my own heart. One of the questions is it possible to get to the root of our dysfunctions, individually and as a unit? Is it possible to elaborate on how we tackle these issues without making one another the issue? I think that's an excellent question. Why are we having these challenges in our relationships? Let's get to the root.
Well, I think that growing up the way I grew up, you got to deal with whatever issues you have from the beginning. I tell people all the time, especially younger folks, deal with your issues now so you don't have to go that far back.
So what are the issues growing up that you think
it could be a gang of things. Of course you have your father not being there issue.
That's important. That's
very
that makes a difference.
Absolutely. So the parenting thing, whether your mother, your father.
So you're saying if an individual grows up without a parent in the household, that can affect their relationships in their adult life?
Yeah, because there's no. For me, I have my father. He was sometime with me, being in a relationship with him, and I was one of the ones, like, I had 2 sisters, and I just learned, like, later in the years, that I had a brother from my father, and I was one of the ones that always would go over to my father's house, and I would go more than my other sisters would go. I would see them just like on holidays, just Thanksgiving or something like that. And then, as I got older, I would go over there sometimes he wouldn't, same relationship. And because there's no structure, I think that's been a bit of a challenge for me in my relationships. I really, really came to grips with that. And being 46, I struggle, but I'm not struggling as hard. I'm starting to fix it because I can't keep staying there.
So what do you think you lacked or you were missing?
The love and the guidance so that I can be able to point out the praying when guys want to pray and see a loving person like me, and just want to know they see a good woman like he said, and just use me, because they can't. But because I didn't have that father figure, you know, if I had it, would I be able to just like count him out and say, you know what, you need to go sit down somewhere and keep it moving? I think I would have been better off. I think I would have been better off. But it's very, very important, guys. It's very important if you have any children, especially the girls. You know, I'm telling you, do what you need to do with them so they won't end up some like me.
So my question to that, because is it possible to get to the root of the dysfunction is what we're talking about. So you have two individuals that's already in a relationship, right? They're already doing it maybe for a couple of years. My question on top of this one then is, how do we deal with these dysfunctions as they manifest? Because they will in the relationships without jumping ship. Because that's what's happening a lot of times, is when issues arise, most of us are not sticking it out. We are running.
And I just, before I let you go, I think unless we find out what the issue, why we jump ship, why we skip and run so fast, because we don't get to the root of why we even do that. So even in a relationship, you know what I'm saying, we need to understand what it is about what's going on with us, male and female, that allows these dynamics to even get to that point, the jump ship. And then until we understand how we, again, going back to this awesome question, the root of our dysfunctions, we will just keep going around in circles.
So that's what I'm saying. So when talking about the root, you're together. So you have two people, they love each other. Okay, but issues, the dysfunction that this person is talking about comes up.
Right.
Okay? How, because they're saying, how do we get to the root of this dysfunction as a unit and individually? Right. So I'm talking about from the unit perspective. You have a unit now. How do we start working in unpacking and resolve or fixing or trying to tackle those dysfunctions as they arise as a unit?
I think it's to understand it first. You got to understand it.
We're saying dysfunction, so what is functional? So do we know what functional is? How do we define what's functional for the family? Go back to our earlier questions. Hey, talk about the communication. Like I said before, lengthy conversations. I keep stressing this here. You got to have lengthy communication to start out. You got to understand what your family dynamics are, who you're dealing with. You got to investigate. You know, understand who they are. When you go to that, meet the parents, meet the family, whatever it may be. When you get to that point in a relationship, you got to see how to get the vibration, understand who they are, who you're dealing with. So you don't do that part. That's when it first starts. At the root is basically what are the family dynamics. Then you can say, okay, wait, can I be with this person based on what they've been through? Can I stay with this person based on what they've been through? And then once you get to that point when it's you together, can I stay with this person based on what we're going through right now? So if you understand the history, you can say, wait, their mother went through this abuse, so they may be protective and defensive because they go through X, Y, Z, A, B, C.
And that is in the event that these two people understand the history, though. So I think we are in a scenario where most of us don't understand ourselves. And so even with communication, you could communicate all day and night, but if you two individuals communicating who don't know who they are, then the dysfunction is just going to continue.
And that's such a very good point, Alphamar, because I know in my relationships, and I haven't had a whole bunch of them because every time my relationship ends, I give myself time to heal. I'm talking about at least 2 years minimum. I've always allowed myself time to heal when I don't jump from one relationship to the other. But to confirm what you just said, I can tell you the times that I've sat down with a gentleman and when we decided we're going to take it to another level and mutually be exclusive and talk to them blue and have told them what I've experienced in the past, and I pray I don't have to go through this with you. Shared everything. I mean, thinking I'm doing some serious communicating. It went in one ear and out the other. So, really, I hear what you're saying, all this communication, which is a great point. We must communicate. But people will communicate with you all day and all night. And in the back of their mind, they're like, okay, I hear her, but I didn't listen to her. You feel me? I heard her, but I didn't really listen to her.
I personally think a lot of females, and again, I'm going to always speak from the female perspective because that is what I am. I think as females, Alcama talked about how do you know? We know. We know we know, we feel it. We know when we are vibing with someone, if this person is off. We know. We may not be able to pinpoint exactly what it is, but we know it's something. What happens oftentimes is we are shallow as women. We are caught up in what he makes, what he looks like, what he drives, okay? How he makes us feel, those little tingly feelings that we get in the stomach, which is really childish, it's really immature. Because when you come down off of that high, you have to face reality. A lot of us are dishonest, first with ourselves. Because you keep talking about women being dishonest. We are first dishonest with ourselves. We don't want to be truthful with ourselves and say, this fine brother right here is not good enough for me because I want what I want. And so I'm going to keep, not you, Demetrius, I'm sorry.
I know you ain't talking.
No, I ain't talking about Demetrius. I'm sorry. But no, I'm saying we do this
she's not
often.
talking about him.
We do this more often than we're willing to admit as women, and these are the conversations we're not having. What happens a lot with us sisters is we get to point C, but we knew from point A the brother was not good for us. And now we get to point C, and it's a full-blown manifestation that he is more than not good, he's terrible. And what we do, instead of going inside, right, and doing some introspection, we blame.
Point the finger.
We point the finger, and we don't deal with it, and we don't heal. And we
never
move
gets
on,
solved.
right, and we move on, and we try to give Mercer a heart that Demetrius jacked up, that we allowed Demetrius to jack up. So the first thing is to be honest with ourselves as women. We have to start there. Know thyself. Know thyself. If this brother doesn't work for you, he doesn't work for you. It's not the end of the world.
Exactly. You can still be friends, but you got to keep it moving. It's real simple.
I was going to say, now, if you do find yourself in the relationship, which that's what we find ourselves at, in it, I think sometimes we have to play therapist to each other.
Yeah.
Sometimes one person is stronger at a point in the relationship than the other, and maybe should be able to lean on that person with whatever they're going through, and vice versa. So I think when you're in a situation and you do want to keep the relationship together, usually you're going through you're usually not going through the same thing at the same time or something, so you can be a shoulder for each other at certain points in the relationship. Me personally, I grew up in a dysfunctional household, so I try to date a woman that grew up a little bit more functional than I did. So that's kind of my little thing I do. You got your mom and dad, cool. You can roll with that because you're not really depending on my people. So I try to have that balance at least.
Interesting. That's interesting. Someone has another from the audience a good question as well. That you might like this, Alkamaka. We talk about this a lot. The person asked, does the so-called law of attraction have any value when meeting people for relationships? And if so, can you share how? Alkama, I know you're big on that one, that we pretty much did our reflection.
Yes. Yeah, we attract who we are. I really believe that. I really believe that good and bad, right and wrong. I think that the more work we do on ourselves, healthy work, the more we will attract healthy people in our lives. I honestly and sincerely believe that, not just through theory, but just based on my own personal experience.
Absolutely.
So that's what all I have to add to that.
I agree. If I could say something to that, I agree. If as a female, you can always know where you were based on who you were dating.
That's a good point.
Because some of us, if we look back, we'd be like, how in the world did that happen? But if you really look and pay attention to what was going on with you at that time, you realize that you probably was out of alignment. You had a lot of family issues going on, and so you made that decision. Your self-esteem, when you're in your lower self, when you're at your best self, you attract that type of person.
Yeah, that's
so I
true.
always say that because there are people that I've dated and I can look back and say, oh my gosh. But then really, if I'm honest, I could say, I totally get why I dated that person at that time, because this is what was going on. So definitely that attraction piece, you attract who you are. I truly believe that as well. And you attract who you are based on where you're at as well.
Yeah.
And that could be translated to maturity and age as well. But I do, the law of attraction, and you basically said it goes into really being in tune with yourself, which a lot of us are not in tune with ourselves. And I mean, it could even be where you're at. It could be, I mean, you might have to go to a warmer climate. You might have to go to the West Coast. No, things might vibe for you better in different areas
Right.
due to climate and environment and things like that. But at the end of the day, you got to just be in tune with yourself and be totally honest
Right,
with
right.
who you are and what you really want.
And then another thing too, everybody that comes into your life is not meant to be permanent. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody that comes into your life is not meant to be permanent. Some people are coming into your life for a reason, season, or purpose. And once that's fulfilled, you move on. No hard feelings, no grudges. It is what it is, and we just move on. They fulfilled that reason, season, or purpose, You can't force something that's not creatively divine to be. You can't force anything like that. So, but what I want to say also for those who are listening, I just share a little bit of advice. Watch a person's actions. That mouth can tell you anything. Be patient. Don't rush, don't push, don't force.
That's right.
Just be patient. And when things are revealed, that's when that honest conversation come in. Whether you male or female, you have to honestly ask yourself, do I want to tolerate this? Can I handle this? Is this what I really want? So it's important to watch actions more so than listening to words.
I agree.
We have two more from the audience. I just want to touch on them real quick.
Okay, well,
one more.
we had our middle point, so we definitely going to touch on those questions, and we do have other questions I got from our Facebook family as well. Facebook family, if you want us to address any of your questions, shoot them out on the stream. You are watching the Empower Hour, which takes place every Wednesday from 2 to 3 p.m. We're doing a 2-hour special today. Anita and I are normally in the studio, and you can catch us on eLife Media, as well as my Facebook page, Al Kumar Malik. We're going to take a 5-minute break, but as we break, so if you guys, want to, take a 5-minute break or do whatever, you feel free. But as we take this break, I'm going to take this moment to share with you guys some of the things that we have upcoming here at Everlasting Life Breakfast and Lounge, which is,
Can I take that over to her so she can
Breakfast
see
and
it?
Lounge, Everlasting Life Restaurant and Lounge,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I
9185
can push them
Central Avenue, located right inside the old Hampton
Which one is
Mall
that?
Shopping Center, which is now called Kingdom Square.
Well, where is it?
Each and every first Saturday of the month, we do what's called a Black Wall Street Renaissance right here in this area. We take the whole dining in area. We fill it with vendors. We have special guests that come out each and every month, and that takes place first Saturdays from 12 to 6 p.m. Every Friday night, we do what's called a dinner and a movie. Right here again at Everlasting Life, we take the banner down, and this becomes a movie theater. And we air new documentaries, different documents. Normally, information that you don't readily hear about in the mainstream is what we like to air. It's like this coming Friday, we'll be airing 1804. Thank you, 1804. It's the new Tariq Nasheed's documentary he did on the Haitian Revolution. So we will be airing that. Come see us for that. The movie starts promptly at 7 p.m. It's always free, 7 to 9. Something new here at Everlasting Life, Children's Night, where every Thursday children eat free starting at 6 p.m. But not only do they eat free, but they have all different types of activities that they do each and every week. It changes. So you want to come bring them to children out, and that's Thursdays nights. Children eat free. Again, you are watching the Empower Hour that takes place every Wednesday from 2 to 3 p.m. So this location here at Everlasting Life it's the main hub of 3 different locations. There's 2 others, Evolve Restaurant and Lounge, as well as Vigoritos, and they are both located in the Tacoma Park section of Washington, D.C. So if you're in the mood for great tasting vegan food, definitely visit, and you're not on this side of town, visit the locations in Tacoma Park, Maryland. So, African Black Marketplace. So we're doing a special marketplace in December where you'll be able to shop every single Saturday in December right here at Everlasting Life. That takes place from 12 to 6 p.m. There is a different theme that goes on each and every week. So you come on out if you're thinking about doing some shopping for maybe the holiday season. Come on and spend your money in your own community. We circulate the black dollar here at Everlasting Life, and we would certainly like to include you in that circulation. Deja Vu Thursdays. That takes place at Evolve Restaurant and Lounge. This 341 Cedar Street Northwest in Washington, D.C. Every Thursday from 5 to 9 p.m. They do a happy hour special. You can get a buy one, get one free cocktail. And again, it's a cash bar as well as the same quality, great tasting food that you would find right here at Everlasting Life. You will find at that location as well. And that wraps up all of our promotions thus far. If you are interested in renting the facility for your own events, definitely call us here at Everlasting Life. And the dining in section is available for your rental. I am adorning some of my pieces, Malik's Fashion Jewelry. You can find me set up right here in the back 4 days a week, Tuesdays through Friday, anytime after 3 p.m. You can find me and my precious jewels. People love me because of my exceptional prices. Prices are always affordable and reasonable, so we don't cut corners on quality or style either. So come see me, Malik's Fashion, here at Everlasting Life, 4 days a week. And Leslie was adorning some of my pieces as well as Mercer. So when you check them out when they come back, and you can see a few more of my pieces that I do have for sale. And everything I have on is also for sale. Okay, so we have our panel just rolled out and left us. But we told them 5 minutes, so I guess we got about 2 minutes left. So yeah, let's get well, I guess we can't ask too many questions without them being here on the panel.
Yeah, that's all.
Well, let's see what some people are saying.
Communicate. Most people are talking about the importance of communication.
Communication is the goal. Sunshine.
She said, personally, I would never discuss my bad relationships with my new relationship. I just look for what I want and don't want. When it comes to the new relationship, I allow someone to show me who they are. Yeah. Raymond is asking, which I think we can touch on later on, can you sleep together in a relationship if you're not married? And some people do have those views where, you know, no sex before marriage.
Right.
Sunshine again, effective communication is needed at all levels of the relationship. Yeah, and Jay, I don't know. Hey, Jay. Yeah. And our panel is coming back slowly. But we want you guys to ask questions. Our viewers, please, we're watching you, the comments live. So if you have questions, just please, by all means, just send them in, ask.
Yes, and any of the audience members as well.
Yes. And we actually got two more that we're going to touch on because we only have 4. So we have 2 more that we're going to touch on from our audience members.
Would you have 2 of these?
Very true.
Okay.
Started? Okay. All right. So this is a question from the audience. Can someone discuss how the European culture plays a part in our ability to create and sustain our unions? For example, head of household roles, who cares for the children, etc. Again, the question is, can someone discuss how the European culture plays a part in our ability to create and sustain our unions?
Well, I mean, because the white man isn't directly in our neighborhood for the most part, he comes through the television. So I would say through media, through different TV shows, for a long time it's told black folks how to live. has told us what romance is, what love is. And to be quite frank, white men are not the romantic individuals that a lot of sisters think they are, even though they portray that on television. So
Even the name itself, Roman.
exactly. I never made that connection, but absolutely, as you said, absolutely. So I mean, the times where, you know, they was courting and sitting around and writing poetry, these white men, they didn't have jobs. They weren't being productive. You know, the things that a lot of sisters want men to do now. And not to say that there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying the root where all this stuff come from. You know what I'm saying? So, again, the television and media, it tells us what love, romance is supposed to be. What, you know, bringing flowers, again, not to say nothing wrong with bringing flowers, but that gets in the way of our issues because they can let them play those games. You know, let that be romance for them and let that be happiness for them. But we got some other issues that we need to tap into so we can really be happy and not showered with phoniness, basically.
So I'm hearing, like, for instance, like if a man is already struggling to make ends meet for his family,
Right.
and he's got to be concerned about Valentine's Day coming up,
Right.
and you got to get cards and candy and
Absolutely.
flowers because they tell you on TV you got to
Absolutely.
have all those things, although you're struggling.
Absolutely.
That can cause even more
Absolutely.
friction.
You can't, you like Mr. Fuller say, you can't argue about something you don't control. We don't control money. So we shouldn't be arguing, not to get back on the subject of money, but because of the Valentine's Day. A lot of these holidays and things of that sort, we already know is man-made and things and it was created for whatever reasons, and we get caught up in it. That Valentine's Day, as we all know, does not validate your love, but we get caught up into that.
And I look at the fact of, we look at advertisement. I break the word down and I take it to another level. Say adverse enticement. So they're trying to adversely entice us to participate in their culture through media. You know, a medium. Media which is basically a medium. So we have to look at it that way as well and say, why are they trying to get so much into our mindset? You know, why are they so hungry to cause us to be like them? You know, in their culture.
Right, and just like getting married. The fact you got a ring, period. Why are you tripping on the size of the ring? You know, I mean,
Or having one at all.
Exactly. I mean, if all he can afford is something from a Walmart on clearance for $198, you still just as married as somebody with a 40 carat. We have to renew our minds if we ever want to change. First of all, we can't make any progress, keep doing the same thing. Second of all, we got to renew the mind to make a change. And that takes a person to be individually proactive. It ain't going to change by itself. You know, that's why we need to get back to when we didn't have, I grew up in Southeast D.C. If I was poor, I didn't know I was poor.
That's right. That's true.
We had each other.
That's true.
We never were homeless. We never went without clothing. Even if my mother couldn't buy clothes, my neighbors across the hall, they had a daughter that was giving away clothes. We handed them down. So we need to get back to those African principles of what real love is, what real community is. Stop watching Real Housewives of Atlanta and all that crazy mess. You understand what I'm saying? Leave their culture to them, and we need to learn our culture and start implementing.
I was thinking about just embracing like common unity. We need to get back to common values and to common unity to the point where we loving on each other and back to the African principle. It takes a village. You know,
Yes.
we lost that so much. I remember when I was younger. You know what? Well, when I was back in Georgia, where I was from, you know, hey, if I got in trouble at that person's house, so I got a spanking then I got in trouble when I got back to my parents' house because you know what? That person was not my parent, but they were a parental guidance figure. They were a parental figure in my life, so they had just as much right because it was a village, because they were holding me accountable as a child for the way I acted and the way I responded, because they knew that they said that your mother's so-and-so, you know better. So
It sounds like we circle back to the whole individual thing before we even get into the being a unit. There's so much undoing that has to happen because you mentioned the marriage thing, and it's like when they say, what is it? Diamond is a girl's best friend. Says who? Who's best friend? Where do we get that idea? Right, but we have to understand.
Jared,
exactly. Who's exploiting our people?
Exactly.
People that look like us.
People dictate to me who my best friend is.
Right.
Stop letting people define who we are.
Adverse enticement. That's what you said. That's what it does. It's adverse enticement to think that same their way.
Stop letting people define who we are, what we must do, stop. We define ourselves.
That's a question that I wanted to ask pertaining to that. Why do you think so many of us are so resistant to if an African culture and centered way of life is more healthier than a European one? Why are so many of us so resistant to taking our own culture back?
I'm gonna tell you why. Real simple. I always say, I'm gonna tell you why. Materialism. We are so brainwashed on materialism. We have traded in spiritualism for materialism.
I think we've also bought into a lie. We've actually bought into the lie of inclusion, integration, which is truly acclimation. That's all we did, is we acclimated to somebody else's culture, and we're still trying to.
Exactly.
You know, even though the circle is not fit, the square is not fitting the circle, we still trying to force it.
Exactly.
We're losing our minds in the process.
I agree.
I was going to say,
sorry, Demetrius.
I was going to say, now back in the day when we didn't have nothing, then, you know, that little ring or whatever we could come up with to say I do was fine, you know. But now that we have, you know, a couple of extra little dollars, now, no, because it's just credit.
Yeah, I was going to say,
technically,
borrowing.
technically it's just debt.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, and when you go to other countries, you really see the real situation, because the other countries don't really have the credit system that we have here. So it really reflects on you got to have the money. But here you can have the credit and still get the ring and the car and the house and et cetera, et cetera. So back in the days when black folks couldn't get credit and they couldn't get a diamond ring on credit and a house, you know, they could get a house, but, you know, it was even hard back then. We had to work with what we had. And I would say that was maybe, you know, that was really love back then in a sense. Because you really liked the person for what they had. Right. I mean, well, what look, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Whatever they had,
their heart.
Absolutely. If it wasn't a lie,
yes.
You know, it was really about that. It wasn't about. So let me rephrase. It was about the car because he didn't have a car, and if he had a car, it was a piece of car. So it was really about the individual and things of that sort.
Yeah, I was going to say too as well. We look at now because we can travel in cars that we get on credit. You know, now even relationships itself is different. The dynamics are different because my dad walked to my mom's house. That's how he courted her. He walked to her house. He didn't have no fancy car. This was back in the 70s. So you know, now if I can meet somebody on Instagram or Facebook, I can go and fly to go see them. So the dynamic has changed a whole lot. So our potential mates are, you know, and our dynamics relationship are just a lot broader than they were back then when we were just in the South or where we were at our little neighborhood.
I think we need to stop when you meet someone. Let's start looking at character, their morals, their values, their standards. You know, $1 million question that we might want to ask when you first, you know, throw it on out there. And I can care less how you answer it, but I want you to answer it when we sit down before we take the first bite to eat. So, are you into dating? Are you into dating?
I say yes.
So what are you dating for?
To build.
What you trying to build?
To build my kingdom. I have goals, I have visions, I have desires and dreams. So I want to build toward those things that I have desires. And if you are on that same pattern, then we can grow together.
There you have it. I threw out a question, he answered it. At least he ain't got a which I've had before. What you mean? At least he was able to answer the question.
So a man with vision.
There you have it.
It's important.
Very important. Because if he doesn't have a vision and he's supposed to be my head, he's supposed to be leading me to the good churches tell you the man's supposed to be the head, right? So how can I have a man leading me if he don't know what he even wants?
But we keep, this is the thing, and this is one of my issues with the black church. We keep talking about the man being the head of household, but we are preaching this message to women who have never seen a head of a household. And so you can preach that all you want. It's not connecting. So when they get into these marriages, as much as we say, it's almost like he's the head of household in name only. So when they get into these relationships, these women are not really letting these men lead. And it's not deliberate. I want to make that clear. We're talking about these issues as if most of the time we are deliberately doing these things to harm each other. What you were talking about with a predator is someone who's deliberate. I'm out to harm you, to destroy you, to tear you down. That's why I said you might want to go with survivor. But anyway, so no, I'm saying that is when women don't allow men to lead, it's not deliberate like, no, you know, I hate you. No, it's that truly, she really don't know what that looks like if she's never seen it. There were no examples. A man also don't know how to lead. It's not deliberate like I'm lazy, I just don't want to lead. He probably really, genuinely do not know. No. And these are things we need to take into consideration. Right. I told a sister once, when a man says to you, you know, you're so good, you know, I'm not worthy, you better hear him. If he's saying, I am not worthy of you, he mean that. He is not worthy of you. And you know what's going to happen? Because his self-worth is so low, he will sabotage that relationship because he cannot take the idea of a woman as good as you actually being in love with him. We need to hear each other. And because a lot of times when men say, it's not you, it's me, we think it's a cop-out. Sometimes people don't have the capacity to love us the way we need to be loved. Sometimes people don't know how to lead or to let others lead them. So we talk about that a lot, and I was in the church for years, and you hear that a lot. And me coming from a single parent household, I would amen it because it sounds good. It sounds real good. But when I got married, is where I run into a problem. Because now I have to really put this thing into action. And I have to manifest it. And there was nothing in me to manifest because I was never fed that image of leadership in the home. My mom raised 5 girls on her own. Where do I get that information from? So now it becomes trial and error and learning. And when you're in a marriage, you truly don't have time for that. You have to figure that out before you get in. So I just kind of wanted to touch on that because we hear that a lot, you know, letting men lead. And women need to be honest. It sounds good. But are we really ready for it?
Well, let me ask this. No, don't be sorry. Let me ask this. I have a question. Can one party change the character of another in a relationship? And let me say this. I know the first response is going to always be, no, you can't change other people. I think you can. But, okay, so let me ask this to the panel. So, if you come into the relationship with a certain set of understanding or, you know, of your own life scenario, can that other person encourage and influence you to change? Or is this person who's just been jacked up from day one and now you with them, do you just roll out and leave because, you know, it's just too much and they'll never change?
I think it depends on the individual as far as patience. I think, like, far as patience is concerned, because being in a relationship that I'm in, I've seen of change. And it was a good change, like far as the profanity using and stuff like that. And I had to make some corrections, and I had to set an example. Like, I am a woman, I'm somebody's mother, I'm a queen. You know, what you're not going to do is talk to me in that manner. That's what you're not going to do. And so I guess the way of my response was, as opposed to me being, look, giving him the same rebuttal as he was given to me, my response was ladylike in a mature fashion. And I just explained to him that this is not going to happen. You're not going to do this. Why would you want to use this type of language with somebody that you lay with, break bread with? Why? I don't look like what you're saying. And if in fact I do, then that means that you don't need to be with me nor mine. And guess what? I haven't heard that profanity since. So it was a good change. And I think it's because how I displayed my reaction towards the negativity. So I think that you can. It all depends on how you respond to that individual, and you must have patience.
Is that genuine change though, or is it change as far as you're concerned? Because he may stop cursing around you and yours, but as soon as he steps, so are we talking about?
I don't have nothing to do with what he does outside
That's
of
what
what I'm talking
asking.
about.
Is
This circle right here. Well, all I'm saying is right here and the now is what you was doing at first.
Right.
It's time up. You shouldn't have been doing it anyway, but because I allowed it the first time,
Yeah.
I allow it the second time, third time it wasn't gonna be me.
And you see, that's what I'm saying. I think that's more of an example of we teach people how to treat us than we actually change in someone. Because that person can leave your presence and still be like, you can tell someone,
I probably don't.
You know, I don't want you to smoke ganja in my house, you know, or I don't want you to smoke ganja around me. And as soon as he with his boy, he is puff, 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 puff. So has he genuinely changed? No, you have just taught him how to treat you. So I guess the question that I'm trying to touch on is, can you, like the question you're asking, can we actually have someone change? Are we talking genuine individual change or change in our space? Because people who love you enough will adjust to make sure that you're good. Yeah.
They changed it to the good. I appreciate it.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah, I think they do, because the same way you can influence someone negatively, you can influence them positively. I think with men, it takes men longer to change than it does women. Women kind of have to, stick it out if they can. If they can, I get it. Women kind of have to, and I'm gonna say it like I would say it. Women kind of have to wear a dude down a little bit, and for him to kind of see the bigger picture. If it's the cussing thing, he might have to lose a job or something, or lose something, and then he can say, you know what, my lady's been telling me stop cussing all these years, and now I lost a job, my kid and got suspended from school because they hear me cussing, things like that. So it takes dudes a little longer, women, because women want to be led to a degree. If a man is a positive influence, he can kind of step in and show her some things, and she listens, especially if she has a lot of respect for him. So overall, I want to say yes.
Yes, I do. We had another question from the Facebook family that came out earlier in the week. This is from Roland. His question was, what are primary reasons we are not only separating and divorcing, but dismembering one another? Refusing to work with our former significant others to strengthen community, business, and family. So in a nutshell, he's saying, why don't we just walk away? Why do we have to destroy each other in the process? What is that? Where does that stem from?
That comes down to who got hurt the most in the situation. And I tell women this all the time. If a man, it's hard to bounce back as a man. I know women think it's 1,000 women out here, but that's not true. There's a lot of women out here, but men don't necessarily have access to them like women think. So when a man gets a divorce or breakup or whatever, men, we hurt, we cry, we go through it all, right? And based on that, we want to be vindictive. We don't want to work together. So and it's both sides, but primarily it's whoever got the raw end of the deal. If the woman feel like she got the raw end of the deal, she gonna give that man a hard time. We already know. I would lead it into the whole thing where women keep their kids away from men and things like that. So I want to say, and men do it too. If the man is if he got hurt the most or he got the raw end of the deal, man, he's just as, he's worse. Extremely petty. And I tell sisters all the time, now if he was able to scoop him up a nice little lady after you know what I mean? Because like I say, I got a saying, I say it's hard to get a back-to-back dime. It's hard to lose one and go just run and get another one. You understand what I'm saying? So if he can't just go get him another one, he gonna make your life, you know what, and until the meantime.
I just think that's an individual thing. I think is like a snowflake. No two scenarios are the same. So I think it's an individual thing, and I think it gets down, for me personally, I'm still friends with my ex. We get along very well. We could work together, you know, no hard feelings on either side. And I think it gets down to knowing thyself. He messed up, and but it's all good because I know the woman that I am. When you know yourself and you have a life, you will hurt. Don't misunderstand, because we're human. God gave us things called emotions. But once you cry it all out, you bounce back up and you be that queen that God created you to be. And you can walk away with dignity and pride and still be that person's friend. It's a maturity level.
And it is, and in time that could possibly be. But like you said, he messed up. Now, if you messed up, would he be so forgiving? And how long would it take, depending on what you did to mess up? So a lot of times that sound, I feel what you're saying, but it depends on the dynamics of what took place and why y'all broke up in the first place. Because sometimes, you know, men, whether we want to own it or not, men are forced to own their stuff and have to come back to you and apologize. But when women mess up, and women do mess up, they don't so much come back and say, okay, I did mess up, and can we be friends now? No. Not, I don't see it.
For me.
I don't see it. I mean, I've never experienced that.
He's saying that men do it quicker than women, and some of us would beg to differ. But I think that a lot of times what can happen to us as women, it's the way that we're socialized in the society that we're in. We are raised almost as to always be the weaker vessel. And so anything that happens, even if it's us, right, that we messed up, we will take responsibility, but if you're looking for us to like be down in sackcloth and ashes, it's probably not going to happen.
No.
So no, I know what you're saying, but I'm saying that is a problem. Because, but I also think what Wessitta is speaking to too is that the manner in which we move on though may look like we don't really care or we're not taking 100% responsibility, but we are. Mm-hmm. We just process it differently and we just keep it moving.
Well, in reference to being friends though, she was, if I understand, she was talking about as far as being friends. Mm-hmm. I was saying, depending on the dynamics of why we broke up in time in between, whether or not we're going to be friends. And I'm saying, if it came down to, it was the woman's fault why things went sour, and her coming back and saying, hey, I apologize, and I would like to, you know, we could be cool if that's possible. I don't really see that happen. Okay. The friendship happens usually when the man has got to the point where he wants to right his wrong, he wants to apologize, and then the woman says, okay, fine, I'm over it anyway, let's be friends.
There's a question that we have from the audience, and whoever wrote it, the reason why I'm sitting on it is because we're going to get to the part about solutions, and so this question sort of speaks more to that than anything else. I wanted to throw this question out there, because Alcama and I talk all the time, and this is one of the issues in our communities. Women have the idea that men just cheat. Okay? We hear that a lot.
That was one of my questions. Do all men cheat?
I want to know too.
No.
Yeah. Let me sit down. Leave people alone. If you're not going to be serious, I'm going to say this again. If you're not going to be serious in a relationship, leave people alone. Thank you.
Okay, so I have my own little take on it, but Alcama's question, you guys can try to answer it, and then we can come back. Do all men cheat?
Do all men cheat?
Okay, yeah. Well, here's the thing.
You said, yeah, they do.
No, I was saying, yeah, that was my warm-up.
Don't put that in.
Now, of course, all doesn't, you know, it's not all and everything, right?
Right.
But I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say good men cheat sometimes, dogs cheat all the time. When you're talking about 20 years, 30 years being with the same person and never doing anything. And now when I say cheating, I'm talking about any uncompromisable position you in with a man or a woman. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not just saying the sex, the actual intercourse or whatever.
Yeah, that's the last thing, because it's a
right. It's some other things that
you
if you caught your woman or your man in this compromising position, if I'm saying it correctly, it's a problem. Women do that a lot. They'll kind of fool around a little bit, but may not go that all the way. They may talk on the phone, they may hang out with a guy. It's a lot of other things, but that would be classified as cheating. But you asked about men. So again, yes, I think for the most part, yes. Is it all men? It's a few out there, like the unicorn, but for the most part, I think that in 30 years, all in all, when you talk about 30 years, and I'm not trying to make a joke of it, but if you talk about 30 years, a man, the way we know man has been programmed, he's never gonna sleep with another woman. I just ain't seen it.
I'm with you. I'm with this brother right here. Go ahead.
And I guess I give another perspective as a man too, as well. That because we can be accused of not just like you said about cheating. It can be an emotional attachment, soul ties as well. Because you go to work. You get your workmate that you comfortable being around, laugh and giggle. All of a sudden it turns into something else, and all of a sudden you're getting a phone call at your house saying, "Hey, did you know that your husband or your wife is over here having lunch with so and so?" And that can be considered as a form of cheating too. So it's not just the sex, but it's the emotional ties and the soul ties that you allow to attach to it. And those things can be toxic. So it depends on how you define cheating. So if you're talking about intercourse, sex, cheating, that's one form of cheating. But when it comes to emotion, because that, like I said, that it builds. Hey, it takes that first before it becomes the next thing. Before you because you reveal yourself with clothes on, you reveal yourself with clothes off. That's what it basically comes down to. So
and we're good.
And I want to say this too to what you just said. You spend more time on the job with people than you do your own family, and then when your lady, when she comes to work, she looking good. She don't look like that when she get home. And then you looking good. When you at your job, you on your A game. You don't do all that when you at home. You are not on your A game at home, which you should be. And it's not sexy. You know what I mean? When you just come home and tie your head up and call it a day, or he come home and put that raggedy t-shirt on and he called it a day. Yeah. So when you at work, everybody got their suits on, got their manners together, whatever. We going to lunch, especially if you work downtown or somewhere like that, and you got a good little job, and you build relationships with the opposite sex that you see more than you see your own family in some cases.
Well, you know what? Let me just say this. Then you need to stay single. If that's your mentality, let me tell you something. If you are disciplined and you truly love a person, you can control yourself. Just like you're talking about a man go to work and the co-workers looking good. Well, let me tell you something from a woman's point of view. Mm-hmm. We see fine every day.
That's what I'm
okay? We see fine every day. Hold up. But we have discipline, and we ask ourselves, is this worth losing that man who stick with me thick and thin, who had children with me, who is building a nation? You have to take a second before you let your lower half move you and ask yourself, is this little thing over here in the short skirt worth losing everything that you've built and want to leave a legacy for?
I think
that's what it gets down to. It gets down to discipline.
The question was asked, do men cheat? It wasn't whether it was right. Wait a minute. It wasn't asked whether it was right. It wasn't asked about the little skirt and is it worth losing. If you would have asked me that, I would 100% agree with you. That wasn't the question that was asked. The question was asked, do men cheat? And what I did was gave a dynamics of why men do it or whatever my opinion is about it. But do I agree with everything you said? Absolutely. Now, Can we talk about women cheating, or we just talk about men right now?
Oh, no,
Oh,
you
okay.
can talk about women
Can I
too.
just say-
Okay.
Let me just share, Abdul, there was a brother on the stream that says that all men do not cheat. Yeah, so, and I think, Wessitta, you have really honed into a really valid point, because it does come down to discipline in my point of view too, because I'm like, well, then a woman should supposed to just accept that a man is not
Absolutely not.
disciplined?
Absolutely
Absolutely
not.
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 But
That's why I'm single today.
Okay, but I want to speak to something that Wessitta said that you often hear a lot of women say. I don't think it's fair for us to say that if a man cheats, he do not love the person he's with. That is unfair. I cannot.
Who
No,
said
wait, let me tell you what was said. If you love the person enough, you would not. And I hear that from women oftentimes. If they love you enough, they're not going to cheat. And I think that's unfair. Because you have men, like he said, 20, 30 years married, and then they had one slip up in those 30 years. Are we supposed to discount the last 30 years of him loving his wife based on one night he had with a woman and say, oh, well, you don't really love her after 30 years? And I think we got to be careful in the language we use around, because you hear that a lot. If you love her enough, then you'll discipline yourself.
You know, let me just say this
Go ahead,
real quick.
Wessitta.
Because I equate love with respect.
Teach.
I equate love with respect. If you respect me, that means you love me. And if you respect me, you'll respect the union that we have. Whether we married or not, you will respect the union that we have. Respect is so important, because when you don't respect something, you can do anything to it.
Right. I agree.
And this is what we're seeing today in our relationships. There's no respect. There's no love. Because love is the ultimate. Love is the ultimate. That means when you connect with a person, you are giving them that ultimate.
I might not 100% agree, and how come you know that we talk about this stuff all the time.
Right. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah, you don't want to throw away 30 years of marriage.
I'm not saying that. I'm also saying that I think we also need to rethink how we define love. Where do we get that definition from? We talk about...
You're going to have a billion definitions.
No, but I'm just saying a lot of our definition of love is Eurocentric as well. And we got to be careful of that. That's all I'm saying. So when we talk about love, we throw that out there. But this is what love looks like, and that is what love looks like. You can go to other parts of the world, and they don't define love the same way. You know what I mean? And so we talk...
But I also think that we do a lot of excusing men's behavior.
Yeah.
When we say things like that, all men cheat, and so that's excusing the behavior of the men to go ahead and do what they're going to do because, that's what we do anyway. So I get it. And instead of upholding a level of respect for yourself, first of all,
and
as a woman, right, to not even accept that. You know what I'm saying? Because what happens is when a man does it, if you do it once, he'll do it over and over again. And if you accept that,
it's a form of domestic violence. It's called emotional abuse.
It's abuse.
I don't.
We can't say that.
Yes, we can. That's emotional.
You can't say
There are different facets. Domestic violence has various levels. Let me tell you, domestic violence, you have emotional abuse, financial abuse, physical abuse.
Cheating is someone cheating.
Emotional.
That's not domestic violence.
It is a part of domestic violence. It is a part of domestic violence.
Wait, no.
We're reaching, ladies.
Wait, no. I can't, listen, I can now whether you accept it or not, that's another thing.
Right.
But to say domestic violence, that's a serious issue. That means that you can call the police because he cheated on you.
No, emotional abuse is the manipulation.
If you're using that
you're manipulating someone's need for you, someone's emotions for you. That is emotional abuse. Someone going out there and having a weak moment is not emotional abuse. We have to be. That's a stretch. And that's why he's responding like that, because to say you are abusing me emotionally because you cheated on me with this lady it's a little bit of a stretch. Now, if you're talking about years and years of deceit, that's a whole different story.
And I can even accept if you want to say emotional abuse, but to say domestic violence, I can't. I'm
standing right on what I said. Domestic violence.
And I'm standing on it too.
She's stressed out. She can't take care of the kids. She popping pills or drinking something. It leads to a whole gamut of
She's
things.
abusing herself.
Domestic violence.
I'd rather take an honest man over anything. Just to say, hey, I'd rather have an honest man over anything. Say, hey, check this out. Look, this is what it is.
She don't need
You
to be
know,
up on it. She
I'd rather have you and you.
So that's what I wanted to
I'd rather
say.
have. I would respect him. I respect that man. I respect that man so much as opposed to him standing in line to me or putting on this little mask as if I'm just gonna be her and it's just not gonna be just me and him.
As Black American women, we
say
say
that
that.
it's gonna be us.
Give me a minute, Demetrius. As Black American women, we say that a lot. However, when we look at cultures that practice polygyny, we frown our face at them. So we talk about that honesty, and there's a lot of dishonesty and infidelity that goes on in our community. Most of us in here know that other lady that our grandfather used to go up the road to and have kids for him. Most of us know our fathers and uncles' side pieces. So when we talk about honesty, are we really ready for that? And that was one of the questions I had, because we talk a lot about cheating in the community, and I'm not saying that we should, but I think it's something that needs to come on the don't kill me. That needs to be placed on the table, and we need to have a conversation around it, and that is polygyny. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry.
And then that's again goes to my point as to what we accept, what we normalize. We are not. This is not a polygamy culture. You know, and even in some African cultures, you hear some excuses that multiple children in a relationship. Well, why can't you have multiple children with one woman?
But let me tell you,
our ancestors did it all the time.
Let me tell you,
I was speaking to what she was saying about honesty, because we hear that I hear that a lot, where women say, I would prefer for you to be honest with me and let me decide if I still want to be with you. And I'm saying, you're right. Our culture is not set up to where we have a mindset that can accept that type of behavior where a man is sharing, even though it's happening. But for it to openly happen, our minds are not ready for that. So when we say that we prefer that honesty, it's sort of like, do we really prefer it? Are you saying that if he's honest with you, you'll give him a chance if he has another woman?
No, I'm saying the man benefits big time.
Yeah.
Well, man benefits big time.
Some of the men,
He benefits two times.
Yeah. Well, you
have to take everything else.
Yeah, I look at it this way. There were some men in the audience that said not all men cheat. Women, hold out till you find a man like that. If you don't want to share, brothers have already confirmed today, there are some men that do not cheat.
Be on the same page.
Hold out. Don't let nobody fool you thinking you got to accept a man having multiple women. If that is not what you want, hold out for God to send you that man that does not cheat.
Like I said before about other soul ties, attachments, said what's defined as cheating? That's what we got to define too, because hey, window shopping may be considered cheating. If a guy turn around and looking, that becomes, why are you looking at this other woman,
Yeah, because
I'm saying I experienced this, like, someone accused me of emotional cheating. So I mean, like, that's what it ties to. That's all. It all builds up. It says one a seed is what everything starts with. Before everything manifests, it starts with a little seed. If it's your eyes, it's your mouth going to be speaking something. Your eyes going to be looking at something. Your hands going to be touching something. So cheating can be just not just one dimensional. You can't just say, okay, well, this is what cheating is. If you accept cheating as someone has sex and sexual intercourse, that's what cheating is.
And respect is different for everyone, because what someone may find disrespectful, I may not find it disrespectful. So like you said, give us someone who is on the same page as you.
Give us some. That's right. Equally yoked.
And listen, I'm definitely with you. With ladies that want a monogamous relationship,
thank you.
Hold out for that. I'm totally with that. And like the brother said, with the definition of cheat, because it was when I was younger, a woman thought going to the strip club, getting a lap dance was considered cheat. Now, in her later days, she told me that she doesn't know that's not. Now that she looks back on it, she doesn't consider that cheating. And I'm saying that to say too, that and I know you're the oldest one at the table, but as women get older, they also, I want to just say it may become a little bit more accepting or maybe a little bit more understanding on how men operate in relationships where it might be some fidelity. And I'm not saying that they should accept it. I'm just saying that after you have seen your mother go through it and your aunts go through it, and now that you're older, you might say, listen, a lot of women say this, as long as you don't bring nothing back to this home, whatever it may be, what can I say? And women actually tell me. And I'm not saying that that's right, and I'm not saying that those women should be, looked down upon because they made that decision, but some women even come to that.
Okay, so I know we're going to be wrapping up soon. So I wanted to touch on the one of the questions from the audience. They asked, are there any positive attributes to discuss regarding the Black Union? Because we often talk about what the difficulties are or what the problems are. But let's talk about what some of the good attributes are that we see in Black unions.
Well, I'm going to say this. Black men and Black women together is the most beautiful thing that you can see. And that's not me trying to make it sound good after I done said all the things I said. However, it's the truth. When you see two Black people together and it looks to be, harmony, it's a beautiful thing. And I think that's what Europeans envy. You know what I'm saying? And it's nothing like it. I think to truly have a Black union, to truly have a Black union, you gotta be honest about where you at in your life. And the woman in particular has to allow that man to put it out on the table and not slam dunk him at this first thing that you hear that you don't like, and vice versa. And I think if we could really sit down at the table like we're doing right now and really have a conversation about what everybody is, and if that brother got a solution on getting out of debt, or if he has children but he's managing the situation, etc., I think that he should be heard out, and vice versa. So I think most of all, like I started off with, and most of us started off with a statement as far as relationships is concerned, is everybody communicating and having the room to be honest about whatever they bring to the situation, good or bad. And I think if you can start off like that and build like that, it's a great thing. And one last thing, I would say more so for the women to critique when it comes to men. You want to ask a man what his life experience has been, because that ties into the cheating thing. A man has to have experience, ladies. Whatever that experience may be, a man has to have it. And I'm not saying that he doesn't want it at 50, but you don't want him to be 50 and never have it. So a man needs to have experience, not just sexually, but traveling, jobs, just different things that he's been through. He needs to have experience.
You want to go to this?
Yeah.
Like some positive attributes?
I think patience. I always say, like, sitting around just like we're sitting around now and just discussing. I think this type of communication works. It works in a relationship, and I'm learning that being in one. Is my relationship hunky-dory in the beginning? No. Am I starting to feel and see the love and change? Yes, I am. I've learned to not do the yelling, because a person can't get heard when two people are angry. You can't get through. And if they care and if they love you, they will listen. They will listen, and they will take whatever it is, how you feel, in consideration, and roll with it. I think just sitting and just having a decent conversation and just listening to one another. That's what I think that's very helpful.
And let me just say, before we move on to the next panelist, that is the reason why Hanifa and I decided to do this panel with everyday, average, single individuals who don't, not being like on a couch and, taking advice from somebody who we think has got it all right, but actually coming to our own community with people who haven't always gotten it right and learning from each other as we go. And I thought that when we decided to do this panel, we had that in mind specifically.
I say that one thing I learned from my mother. I asked her when I went through my divorce. I said, "Mom," I said, "what is it about you and Dad?" Because my parents been together since 1970, so they've been solid. You know, that's the only thing that I've ever known. I haven't heard nothing about my parents doing anything, any kind of dirt. I've only known them, and that's all I've seen. So that's all that they've exposed to me. And my mother said this. She said, "Baby, she said, love is a choice." And that's what it came down to. So whatever you do, think, whatever, it's still a choice. Love is always a choice. So that you have to choose to love that person for their good, they bad, they fouls, they inapts, whatever they lack. You as a person, when you roll over in that bed next to that person, you still got to choose to say, guess what? I still love this person. I'm still gonna stick it out with this person. If they mess up with me, if they mess up 1, 2, 10,000 times, I'm still gonna be with this person. That's what it comes down to, and that's commitment. And that's my parents taught me, so that's what I learned from now. So when it happens again for me, I know I got to take a high level of commitment, and not allow some of the negative attributes to be the deciding factors, And if you really want to be with that person or person, if it's polygamous, that's not here to judge, but I'm just being honest. But hey, that's all. I'm keep it from going too long. That's all I really got to say. That's the main thing. But hey, if I leave you anything, just know that love is a choice. And you choose to love that person regardless.
And I just want to say that when you make that choice, not just you, just generally talking, God knows, be honest. Lord knows, be honest. And be a woman or man of your word. Don't say something in the beginning that you're not willing to live out the rest of the relationship. Also make sure that your actions match your talk. Make sure your actions match your talk. Because see, what happens is representatives are showing up. And then when the representatives leave, all the dirt they really were about comes out. People listen and listen clearly. Whatever you doing in silence or in behind closed doors, eventually it rises to the top. It's going to come out. And it's best, so I believe in good communication, honesty, good, bad, or ugly, honesty. Let your actions match your words, and we always used to say, my word is my bond. How many of us can say that nowadays and truly mean it? Relationships are beautiful. I long for God to bless me with the king that he is preparing for me. But women, it's also absolutely beautiful to be single. I'm loving my singleness. It's okay to be alone. Don't think because you are alone, you are lonely. Don't get it twisted. And have a standard for you. That you and God have agreed on that standard. Don't worry about if others say your standard is too high, too low. Have peripheral vision. Keep your eye on the prize. You set a standard for yourself. And if someone enters your life that does not meet that standard, you keep it moving.
I guess we're including.
Yeah, you guys are included. I would like to hear from these hosts. I really want to hear how you guys think and feel as well. Go ahead, we have to go now?
Yes.
Oh.
Now we were basically facilitating the discussion.
Okay.
So we shared some.
But I think this was a great panel. I pray that the audience. This was very enlightening.
Yeah.
Very enlightening.
Yeah. And again,
I walked away with some stuff.
right.
Me
and
too.
again,
I really did. The homeboy right here, he's really good. Everybody is. Really. I took a lot, but you could tell pretty much the difference.
And thank you, the Facebook family. And again, we definitely want to reiterate that this panel was not a panel of individuals who we look to for, that have all the answers. Deliberately, we came with this panel because we wanted to individuals that's dealing with the same thing a lot of us out there are dealing with. And to hear what's really being said, the underlying versions of what's really going on in our relationships. And we chose them specifically because of their openness and honesty that they exude in their everyday, day-to-day lives. So that was why we chose the panel we did. And again, this is the Empower Hour. I am Al Kwamar.
And I'm Hanifa.
And you can catch us on eLife Media every Wednesday from 2 to 3 p.m. where we take a new topic of discussion every week and we bring it to you and we hash it out. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Peace, family. Peace and love.
Like Howard.
This was awesome. Thank you guys. This was
Dr. Baruch?
Dr. Baruch, can we ask you a question?
No, we have a question.
A question? No?
compensating your guests. Guest compensation.
Yeah, you got to ask me on the way.
Okay, thank you again. So